Good morning. Welcome to Pastor John's Fireside Chat. It's Wednesday, August 19th. Our devotion today comes from the book of Ruth. Ruth is a real small book. There's only 4 chapters in it, but it is just packed with good stuff. In fact, the German writer Goethe said of the book of Ruth, it's one of the best short stories in history. It really focuses on the story of redemption. There was this woman named Naomi. She lived in Bethlehem with her husband and 2 sons. They fell on some hard times and they moved to the country of Moab, east of the Dead Sea. While they were there, their 2 sons married and took Moabite wives. And then in time, Naomi's husband died, and then her 2 sons also died. And so she's left there as a widow with her 2 widowed daughter-in-laws. One of the daughter-in-laws goes back to her parents, but Ruth, the other daughter-in-law, the name of the book is after her, she says, I'm going to go wherever you go. I'm going to live where you live. Your God's going to be my God. Your people are going to be my people. Where you die, that's where I'm going to die, and that's where I'm going to be buried. So in other words, she made this lifelong commitment and pledge to her mother-in-law, Naomi. They go back to Bethlehem, and the people see her and say, hey, it's Naomi. Naomi means pleasant or pleasantness in Hebrew. And Naomi says, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, because the Lord Almighty has made my life bitter, and that's what Mara means. So this is an angry woman. She has lost everything, and now she's got to start over, and she's pretty upset with the Lord because she feels that she has been dealt a really bad hand. I think some of us can probably feel like that right now as we go through a difficult time in life, whether it's the pandemic or being laid off, furloughed. It can seem like God is out to get us. And that's where Naomi, Mara, is in the story. But then something happens. Her daughter-in-law Ruth goes and works for a guy named Boaz, and she's trying to make find some food for herself and for her mother-in-law. She works all day long, and this is where we pick up in Ruth chapter 2. The name of the man I worked for today is Boaz. That's Ruth. The Lord bless him, Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. She added, that man is our close relative. He is one of our kinsmen redeemers. And that's the major theme in the book of Ruth. A kinsman redeemer was a relative who had the responsibility to rescue a needy relative. They would come and buy land back if it was sold and the people were poor. They would buy them back from slavery if they had to sell themselves into slavery in order to survive. They would come to the rescue. They would be the redeemer of their relative. And certainly Boaz reminds us of the ultimate redeemer, our kinsman redeemer, Jesus Christ, who came into this world to suffer, to die, to pay the price that we owed because of our sin, so that we could be brought back to God and be given a new life. After Boaz redeems the family, Ruth and Naomi, the story ends with Boaz actually marrying Ruth and having a baby. And this is how the story ends. He will renew your life, and that's this baby that's been born, and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth. Then Naomi took the child, laid him in her lap, and cared for him. The women living there said, Naomi has a son, and they named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David, who later becomes the king of Israel. This is a story of incredible loving faithfulness, not just of Ruth, not just of Boaz, but ultimately of God, who is always there for his people. Your life may seem bitter at times, but you have a kinsman redeemer who's going to come alongside of you and rescue you. He's proven that he'll do that because he's already done it. He died and rose again so that you could be his forever. And not only was Naomi blessed, but isn't it interesting? Ruth the Moabite, and they used to be the enemies of the Israelites. She's actually brought into the line, into the family, not only of King David, but ultimately of Jesus the Christ, who comes from the line of David. Again, this is a story of God's incredible faithfulness to his people. I hope that you experience that faithfulness of God, especially when life turns sour, when you seem a little bitter. Remember, there is a God who has pledged himself to you, and he is your Redeemer. Have a great day in the Lord.